So I want to take a moment and welcome everybody back to the channel. We're going to be here at the Kioti place. Stick with me. All right, so today we're in Luling, Texas. We're at the Kioti dealership. We're at ACM Tractor Sales. Right there's their phone number, their website information. They are a Kioti dealership here in Luling. We're going to be going out here and looking at a Kioti RX 7340. Come on, let's go check it out. Check this thing out. All LED lights, heavy drawbar, heavy 3-point hitch. Looks like it has one remote. Heavy loader. Look at the loader on this thing. Wow. Nice big bucket. It's got places so you can bolt hooks up. Wow. Kioti has done good. Very good. All right, as we get in the cab, we're going to start on the floor right here. It has your clutch, your brake pedals, which are linked together. Looks like this is for the steering. You can push this here to adjust the steering. Now the steering on this tractor is a friction lock steering, so you wherever you position that steering wheel, it will stay. And I really do like the way they did this. I like these steel pedals like this. There's none of that rubber pedal that will fall off of here. I like this design. That's nice. You're using an air ride seat. It's a Grammer seat. Over here on the floorboard, you have your differential lock. It's on the right side of the tractor here. Let's crawl on up in here and take a look around. All right, I'm gonna do my best to go around this console over here. Let's talk about a few things. It is a 4-speed with 3 ranges. So this is a 12 by 12. It does have a declutch button on it. But I will tell you, every time you declutch this to go to another gear, it beeps at you for some reason. I don't know why that is, but it does. Our loader stick has a horn on it. And on the back side, it has your third function. And it's a toggle button for your third function. You have your single remote control. That's for your remote in the back. 2 other locations for 2 more remotes. You have your PTO here. It is a twist style. You push it, turns it off. You have your position control here for your 3-point. You have your auto position. In other words, if I set this at a certain position at the height that I want it to go, or the depth I want it to go, I should say, and I push this will raise that 3-point hitch all the way up. And then if I push this button, it'll take that 3-point hitch down to whatever position I have this set in. You have your throttle control right here. So let's look at this first section right here, this console right here. There's nothing in this location right here on this particular tractor. I don't know what would go there, but on this tractor, there's nothing here. You have a response setting for work and drive. I don't know exactly how that works. My understanding is if you're doing plowing work or other work, that you would put this into the work mode. If you're not, then you can have it in the drive mode. So if I understand these 2 buttons correctly, these are used to make adjustments on your clutch, your shuttle shift, and maybe your clutch on your shifter. They're also used for a maintenance purpose. I don't have a clear understanding of how these buttons how you use these buttons. If you're having maintenance done, this is one of those items that you would contact your dealer on. A comfort clutch. Now this is interesting. If you have this button pushed right here on the comfort clutch, you could literally let the clutch all the way out, and the tractor will take off slow as long as this is engaged. If it's not engaged, then it's like popping the clutch. You don't want to do that. This button on this particular tractor has nothing on it, so we'll move on. The IP setting. This is probably, I don't know what this is. I have tried to find out what this is, and I can't find out any information. If I do find out what this is, I will try to let you know, but at this time I don't know. Again, if you know what this is, put it down in the comments and let us know. And back over here into this system, you've seen this on some other tractors. Sometimes they call this like a Bosch system. I don't know if this is a Bosch setup. Basically, here you can fine tune your 3-point to where how far up you want it to go. So this one's used for your lowering speed on your hitch. It determines how slow it will go down or how fast it will go down. This button right here is used for how high it will go up. This one is for the lowering speed. You have an auto positioning switch here. This is for the PTO. Now this, I believe, will go into conjunction with this button here, which we'll get to in just a moment. If you have this set in auto though, this switch right here is what basically says, hey, this is where I need you to turn on and off at. So wherever you set this at, the auto PTO position, the upper position is where the PTO will shut off. And that's what this is for your engagement, for your clutch, for your forward and reverse. And then finally, this is your draft control. This is how you set your draft control on this tractor. You use this in combination with your position control. This is your position control. So if I want to raise this up, it's all the way back, and that raises your 3-point all the way up, all the way forward as the 3-point goes all the way down. Then if you need to run draft with ground engagement equipment, normally you would have a lever that you would utilize for that. But this is now your draft control. So you would adjust your draft control with this knob right here. So this button right here is used to turn your draft control on or off. This button right here, you would push this button to use the external buttons that are outside on the fenders, and you're wanting to, so the tractor is stopped, parked, you're hooking up an implement or so forth, you would need to have this button pushed. That's what this button's for. It's so that it engages the button that is out on the fender. In order for you to use the PTO button, this button would need to be pushed. Moving on down here, this is the auto manual for your PTO. This is the manual position, so your PTO runs all the time. The auto position is whenever it lifts up, the PTO will turn off. The applications for that might be like a shredder or maybe a tiller. And then you have this switch here, which I believe what this does is if you're sitting in the seat, your PTO will run fine. For some reason, if you need to get out of the seat, your PTO could shut down, and what you would do is you'd push this, hold it. I believe there's a button or there's a light that will light up on the dash saying that your PTO is overridden, and you can get out of your seat for whatever reason it might be, to go back outside, get outside where you're maybe you're running a piece of equipment that needs the PTO to run while you're not in the seat of the tractor, and this is the override to be able to do that. You have your 4-wheel drive button. Moving back here to these switches. These are basically your lights, your windshield wiper, your washer, and then there's a set of side lights. This is the windshield washer fluid here. All this is basically, all of this is toward the front of the tractor. This switch is actually more toward the front of the tractor, I believe. Because there's a set of lights on the side of this tractor, and I don't know if this switch controls that or not. You have rear lights. You have your rear windshield, your rear windshield washer fluid, and then you have a defrost on your rear window. And then finally down here, we have your PTO cruise. Now, this is to keep your PTO at a constant level. So let's say that you're running at, let's just say that you're running at somewhere around, let's say 2,500 RPM, and you want your PTO to stay at that 2,500 RPM. This button here will set that. You set it up to the 2,500 RPM. Let's say you get into some heavy grass or something like that, then this will increase, try to keep that RPM steady at 2,500 RPM, and that's what this is. Okay, so you can leave this off. You run your PTO like we normally would, or maybe you're running a shredder like we just talked about, and you want to hear that thickness of the grass and all that, or you can run it in PTO cruise, which will help you increase that horsepower We put that power to the rear, to the PTO, and that's what this button is. So under the steering wheel, we have a couple of buttons we're going to talk about real quick. You have first button here is your cluster button as well as an economy button. And my understanding is if you push this into economy, then your tractor runs at I guess a more efficient rate. Is for fuel. I don't know if it decelerates or what it does, but that's what this is. So you can have it in economy mode. Then you also have your cluster mode up here. This is your mode that goes through several of the different things on your cluster. Here on your instrument panel, if you look right here, you'll see that there's a what's called a DPF temperature. Then you can cycle through that. There's your soot load, your fuel rate, another, I believe that's some type of average fuel rate per hour. There's a trip for your fuel, how long you be able to run on that fuel. And again, we're back to the DPF temperature. It tells you that you're in neutral right now, and it tells you what gears you're in. So this is medium. Although we are in neutral, I can switch out of medium here, and I take it to neutral there, and then I take it to high, and then so forth. Okay, so I'm in low there. I'm in forward. I'm moving forward, and reverse. That's what that is. You have a fuel gauge here. It's LED. You can see it very clearly. It's nice and bright. It's daylight out here and about noon, and I can see that just fine. And then you have your temperature gauge here, and so that's pretty well lit up too. You have your RPM gauge. You have your 540E, your 540 right here, and then over here you have your tachometer. The tractor has a Bluetooth stereo system in it, as well as this is your air conditioning system. Now this is a little bit more complex than maybe some tractors have it. Some of the bigger tractors have this, but Kioti has put a air conditioning control system in here that is a little more automotive, a little more technology here. You can see that you can hit your auto button there, and it kicks up and gets going. On the driver's side of the tractor is your shifter for your 540 neutral, 540E. There's your 540 neutral position, and then 540E. So on the passenger side, I want to note that on the door, they've used this handrail, and this is the rail that opens the door, or you grab the door and shut the door by. But it goes across here, comes back up, and then goes across here. Now, why is that a big deal to me? Well, if you have monitors and stuff, you have a place to put those monitors. And in some of the tractors, this rail is not up here. Now, if they have the center post here, sometimes they'll have a rail or something that comes off it. But this also has the grab rails in the front. Now, those grab rails can be used for the same thing. If you have a monitor that you need to put in the tractor, definitely a place to put that monitor. So let's take a moment out. Let's open the hood on this tractor. To open the hood on this tractor, there's a push button latch. It is on the passenger side of the tractor, and it's in the very front. So I'm gonna get you in here and show you where that's at. You could get a little confused here because here's your information on how to open it, but you don't see anywhere here to open it. It's down here, and there's a button right here. So the hood opens all by itself. Good struts on it, get it opened up. So the Kioti has a Daedong engine in it. It is a 73.1 horsepower engine. At the PTO, this tractor produces 60.9 horsepower. This is a 148.6 cubic inch engine. It does have a DPF on it, but because it's under the 75 horsepower range, it does not use DEF. Look up here in the front where the coils and everything are at for the condenser coils, transmission, radiator, so forth. This has a screen that's set between the, basically looks like the condenser coil. No, it looks like it's between the, what would be, I believe, an oil cooler or transmission coil. It has a screen here in between the two. Then you have your condenser coil and your radiator. You have your air box. and the battery is right below the air box. As far as everything goes, when it comes down to the maintenance on this tractor, it does not look very hard at all. It has a very hefty grill guard on it. Well done. I would still wish that they would put actual grill guards in them with screens, but neither here nor there. This one has a nice heavy grill guard on it. Looks like you have your fuel filter here, your oil filter here, and I'm sure the hydraulic filters are underneath. So, but fuel filter, oil filter, very easy to get to. You have your check location for your oil right there. It's your dipstick. You have your loader. Your loader valves are on the outside. You have this handle right here, which locks your loader into position while it's up. So all you guys that are going to hit me on about safety with the loader up in the air, the valve is locked. The tractor is set up with third function in the handle. You have your third function hoses on this one already sitting here. It does not have the valve in it, or it doesn't have the hoses run up to here or the valve into the valve yet, but it can be installed. But it's all here. On your PTO, you have two positions. You have a 540 and 540E. You also have a neutral position, so if you need to turn this. But also on this tractor, you have the switch on the inside that we talked about a little earlier that allows you to move your PTO a little bit at a time. You also can use these switches here that are on both fenders. They're not on just one. They're on both fenders. The other one's right here. And you can move your 3-point up and down and jog your PTO with those buttons. It does have a hood that moves out of the way, and it moves out of the way a lot, not just a little bit. I mean, you have room now to reach everything there. That's very good. You have two large hydraulic cylinders to assist with the 3-point. I like this. This uses this style, well, pin style of stabilizer bar. This to me is much better than the screw style. I like this style better. Some people may not like it as much, and there's reasons for both, so keep that in mind. And I'll tell you what that is on a screw style, you can tighten this up tighter so that you don't have this flex in here. Now, if you're not worried about that, this is my favorite style to have. On your 3-point arms, you have the adjustability here. I like this style of adjustment here. You can lock this into place. It's not the type you have to turn by hand here, but you have this handle here that has there's a gear inside of here that allows you to move this 3-point hitch up and down to help level out your implements. Your draft control, again, it only has one remote standard. You can get up to 3 remotes on this tractor. Really nice heavy drawbar. So some of the specs for your hydraulic pump, the max flow on this thing is 20.6 gallons per minute. Now, this is a category 2 system. I believe this is the 3-point hitch is 4,327 pounds of lift. I believe, and that's at the pin here. That's not 24 inches back that I know of. Kioti is using a steel hood on this tractor, so that's just something I'll just go ahead and note. The loader on this tractor, though, is not skimped on. They have put a real good, true self-leveling loader on this tractor that I can't even tell you how well this loader's done. If you don't go out and take a look at this tractor, you'll see that this loader is well done. I mean, even on the self-leveling portion of this loader, just the self-leveling loader, they use a cap that goes over the top of the loader here, and this is part of the self-leveling system, and it's nice, thick. It's not quite 1/4 inch, but it's pretty thick. This is every bit of 1/4 inch or more, and then the loader itself is nice and thick. Hydraulic cylinders are nice and big and large. There's nothing skimped on this tractor, nothing at all when it comes down to the loader for sure. This is an 81.89 inch bucket. 81.89 inches, basically almost an 82 inch bucket. It's got it's fairly deep. They have these 3 positions that they will install on top of the bucket. These are for hooks or anything else that you might want to bolt. You can bolt them directly to the bucket, but from the factory they've already welded this plate in. The bucket itself is not a thin, cheap bucket either. The skid steer attachment here is pretty well done. They've used some nice heavy steel on everything they've done here is nice and heavy steel. You can see that by the thicknesses of the steel that's been used on this loader. There is nothing skimpy, again, about this loader. So I want to go over some loader specs with you real quick here. The max lift height on this loader at the pivot point is 127 inches. Now, the lift height under a level bucket is 116 inches. Now, with that also said, the actual loader capacity at the pivot point at its maximum height is 3,300 pounds, and then it has a breakout force of 5,875 pounds. If you want to know a few more details about the loader, you might want to get on their website. It has all the details on lifting heights and so forth. All right, so that's a Kioti 7340. That is a nice tractor, okay? Super nice tractor. Thanks to ACM for letting me come out here and video, take a look at this, crawl all over this tractor. I appreciate that. But until next time, guys, thanks.